A land where the sun scorches the earth long before it warms the soul, where the horizon dances in heat and dust rolls like ancient whispers across cracked soil. This is not the Eden of green savannas and lush acacia. This is the forgotten kingdom, a place where the rules of life bend beneath the weight of survival, where lions, stripped of legacy and title, must carve out new meaning beyond the known borders of pride and place. The Kalahari Edge, a parched wilderness few dare to cross. Its barren majesty stretches from sand-veiled hills to ghost trees whose limbs plead to the sky. Here, water is a memory, and shade a rare reward. But even here, in this unforgiving corridor of dust, life endures, and lions, driven from their ancestral lands, find a crucible that will test not only their strength, but their will to live. In the golden hush of dawn, the air holds still. It is the kind of stillness that speaks louder than sound. A young lion, his ribs etched into his hide like forgotten script, pads silently over the cracked earth. He is not of a coalition, not of a pride. He is something else entirely, a nomad, one of many cast adrift by war, by drought, by the ever-churning cycles of the wild. His name is not spoken, for lions here are not granted legacy. He is the dust walker, a symbol of what remains when all else has crumbled. Behind him trails another, a brother, thinner still, his steps slower. Together they traverse the waste with nothing but instinct and bond. Their manes are yet to grow full, their faces still wearing the softness of youth. But there is no youth here, only hunger, and the slow realization that the world no longer bends for lions, it breaks them. These brothers were born far from here, in the river-thick heartland where prey is plenty and the nights sing with frogs and owls. But pride politics are brutal. At 3 years old, they were cast out by their father's coalition, forced to wander before their muscles had hardened and their confidence took shape. Now they move not with purpose but with hope. Hope that a spring lies just beyond the next ridge. Hope that a meal lives where the sand meets scrub. Hope that survival is more than delay. The Kalahari does not yield easily. Here, prey animals are as ghost-like as predators. Springboks move like mirages across salt pans. Antelope vanish into thorn thickets with barely a sound. And yet, the brothers must hunt. Their first attempt comes at dusk. A lone steenbok, drinking from a shallow depression where last month's storm left behind a cup of moisture. The younger brother crouches, his amber eyes locked, ears flat. The elder circles. But their timing is off, their movement too loud, the sand too loose beneath their pads. The steenbok bolts, bounding with miraculous speed into the shadows. The brothers do not chase. They stand, still and silent, as darkness folds over the land like a veil. Night in the dustlands is colder than thought. It claws through fur, through skin, through bone. The brothers find shelter in the lee of a termite mound, curling together like cubs. Around them, the sounds of the desert emerge. The call of a distant jackal, the hiss of shifting sand, the low drone of insects, and somewhere, miles away, a lion roars. Not a roar of dominance, but of defiance. The dustlands answer with silence. Beyond the ridges, another story begins. A lone lioness, heavy with age and stripped of pride, stalks through thorn-veiled thickets. Her coat is pale, her muscles worn, but her eyes, they hold storms. She once ruled a pride of 15. Her days were filled with cubs at her belly and sisters at her side. But that was before the fire, before the drought burned the rivers to stone, before outsiders came roaring, slashing, and rewriting her legacy in blood. Now she walks alone, but not without purpose. In her solitude, she hunts with precision born of years. A ground squirrel becomes her meal, a meager prize hardly worth the energy it took to catch, but she eats it with gratitude. In the Dustlands, even small victories are sacred. The brothers cross paths with her scent days later. They sniff the air, nostrils flaring, ears high. Not prey, not danger, but something in between. A lioness old but alive. They follow her trail with curiosity, not conquest. When they find her, she is sunning herself on a dune, half asleep, one eye cracked open. She does not rise, she does not growl, and they do not approach. A silent understanding settles among them. She is no threat. They are no pride. For now there is peace in distance. Time passes slowly in the Dustlands. Days are measured in mirages, in shifting winds, in the soft collapse of hooves against sand. The lions move as ghosts, never resting too long, never chasing shadows. One evening the sky turns gray, thick with the scent of promise. Clouds gather, low and swollen, and a gust sweeps across the flatlands like a herald. The lions lift their heads. Their manes ripple with the breath of coming rain, and then it falls, not gently but with fury. Rain in the Dustlands is a miracle and a trial. The earth gasps, cracks hiss and bloom into rivulets. Pools form, dark and cool. And in those first moments the lions drink like kings, but the rain brings more than relief. It awakens the land. With water comes movement. With movement comes prey. And with prey comes danger. For the brothers, this is the beginning of change. Their muscles thicken, their instincts sharpen. The younger learns to flank without sound. The elder perfects the kill bite. Together they take down a young springbok. It is their first kill in weeks. They feast in silence, only their eyes betraying the triumph. A moment of grace earned in a kingdom of despair. The old lioness watches from afar. She does not intrude. Instead, she turns, heading further into the wild. For her, the time of solitude is not over. But for the brothers, a new chapter has begun. From the dust, strength is rising. In the crucible of the forgotten kingdom, lions are not born. They are forged. The rain has passed. The dust has not. Water trickles briefly through ancient channels, carving silver veins in the ochre soil. But already the sun moves to erase it. It drinks greedily from the land, lifting moisture in plumes of heat, and returning it to the sky where it began. Life, for a fleeting moment, has tasted ease. Now the hardship returns. The two brothers, still lean, still learning, press onward into the vastness. Their paws now carry the scent of blood and dust. Their jaws remember the grip of flesh. They are no longer just survivors. They are predators. But the Dustlands are not eager to forgive. Each mile bears the signature of challenge. Thorns that slice skin, hidden burrows that collapse beneath careless steps, the invisible menace of parasites, the subtle poison of heat. Even time itself becomes an enemy, stretching hunger, delaying sleep, coiling tension between every moment of movement, and, worse than the land, are the others, for they are not alone in exile. Rogues stalk these margins, exiled males, broken coalitions, lions who have forgotten what it means to trust. Each carries their own story, a story of betrayal, of failure, of ambition, lost in the teeth of war. One such lion is near. His mane is black at the shoulders, burnt gold at the fringe, thick with burrs and dirt. His face carries 3 long scars, from eye to muzzle, gifts from a rival who dethroned him seasons ago. He once ruled a pride along the Okavango's edge. Now, he hunts alone, feeding off scraps and chance. He is rage in silence. He is survival, turned savage. He watches the young brothers from a ridge. He sees the strength in their limbs, the naive pride in their pace. He sees what he once was, and he follows. Not as a brother, not as a threat, not yet, but as a reminder, a shadow, a lesson the wild has not yet taught them. At night the brothers rest beneath a fever tree. The moon glows pale and distant. Hyenas laugh somewhere in the blackness. Owls slice the wind on soundless wings. The elder twitches in his sleep. The younger shivers despite the warmth, and in the distance the scarred rogue moves, silent as mist circling wide, always downwind. He is not ready to confront them, but he is near enough to learn. This is how power changes hands in the Dustlands, slowly, invisibly, then all at once. But not tonight. Tonight, another challenge comes. The wind carries a scent, familiar, potent, and unwelcome. Lions, not rogues, not exiles. A pride. The brothers freeze, heads raised, ears flat. Their eyes scan the ridgeline, and then they see them. Silhouettes, backlit by the early dusk, lionesses, moving with fluid grace. At least 5. And cubs, playful, unaware. In the center, 2 males. Broad, thick-maned, confident, dominant. The pride does not see the brothers, not yet. But they are moving toward the same waterhole. This is no place for challenge, not yet. The brothers know it, they retreat. But pride territory is vast and its scent marks extend far. For 2 days they skirt the boundary, keeping low, keeping silent. And all the while the black-maned rogue watches. He has seen this dance before. He knows its end. The older brother, stronger, bolder, begins to chafe at retreat. He stands, taller, sniffs the air longer. He marks bushes, scratches bark. He is testing the wind, testing fate. The younger is more cautious. His eyes flicker often to the horizon. He moves with hesitation. It is not cowardice. It is instinct. On the 3rd night, their world changes. They hear the roars, thunderous, triumphant, close. The pride males are calling out, not in challenge, but in warning. Something has disturbed them, something bigger than 2 wandering youths. Hyenas. Dozens of them, a massive clan drawn by a carcass now pressing at the edges of the pride. And amidst the chaos, something happens. The wind turns. The brothers' scent, carried now on a breeze, reaches the pride. A lioness roars. The ground shivers. The brothers bolt, through thorns, over roots, across riverbeds cracked and dry. They do not look back. They do not pause. This is exile. Not the exile of geography, but of belonging. They are reminded again. They are nothing here. Not yet. By morning they collapse, beside a cluster of rocks. Dust clings to their tongues. Their hearts thunder with exhaustion. The younger curls beside the older, head on his shoulder. And for a time, they sleep. But they are not alone. The scarred rogue stands atop a nearby boulder, watching with eyes like obsidian. He has seen the chase. He has seen the panic. And he knows. Now is the time. He approaches slowly. His massive body barely makes a sound. The younger brother wakes first, his eyes wide, limbs locked in alarm. The rogue does not attack. He sits, still, silent, heavy with intention. The older brother rises. They face him together, bristling. But the rogue offers no growl, no strike. He lowers his head, a gesture of recognition, of warning, of invitation, and then he turns his back and walks away, leaving behind a message written in silence. Follow, and you may learn. The brothers hesitate. They are young, yes, but not foolish. They follow. For 2 days the three lions travel together, never touching, never speaking, but always within sight. The rogue leads them to forgotten places, where hidden water pools behind rocks, where prey grazes without vigilance, where the wind carries no scent of pride. He does not share his kills, but he does not drive them off either. This is not mentorship. This is exposure. He wants them to see, to understand what awaits when exile hardens, when a lion loses everything and keeps going anyway. One evening, as the sun bleeds in, there are lands that speak in silence, places where the wind is older than the bones it buries and the grass remembers more than it shows. The brothers move now through such a place. Once, long ago, this was pride territory, a stretch of fertile scrubland where giraffes browsed acacia tops and wildebeest darkened the horizon. The soil, still richer here, grows taller grasses, green-veined with gold. But the lions are gone, long gone. What remains are stories and bones. The young males step lightly, their paws brushing through stalks that sway without sound. Insects rise in delicate clouds. Sunlight filters through the canopy of thornbush and mopane, painting the earth in dappled light. The land feels gentle, but gentle is not the same as safe. They pass a carcass, bleached ribs arching from the earth like ivory fingers, the remains of a buffalo left to time and the elements. Nearby, the gouged earth tells of a long fight, hoof prints, drag marks, lion tracks, and hyena prints that arrived when it was over. This land remembers. And in the silence, the brothers feel the weight of those memories. A pride once ruled. Here their scent is long faded but still clings faintly to the trees. Marks etched into bark, fur caught in thorn. A distant legacy, now crumbling. The brothers pause beneath a rock outcrop, resting in the shadow of what may have once been a den. And then they hear her. A low growl, not of threat, not of warning, of pain. They rise together, ears high, eyes scanning. And then she steps into view, a lioness, thin but not fragile. Her belly hangs low, nursing or once nursing. Her flanks bear fresh wounds, deep, deliberate. Her left eye is swollen shut. She does not run. She stares, and behind her, half hidden in the long grass, 2 cubs peer out. No older than 5 months, their eyes wide with the blank innocence of those who have not yet learned fear. She has not come to challenge. She has come to plead. She growls again, softer this time, barely more than breath. The older brother lowers his head, takes a cautious step forward. She does not flinch. He moves closer, slow, deliberate. The younger brother hangs back, watchful. The lioness collapses, not in defeat, in exhaustion. She cannot flee, and she will not fight. What choice is left? She has been alone too long. Later, as dusk stains the sky in bruised pink, they share space beneath the same tree. The lioness dozes fitfully, her ribs fluttering with shallow breath. The cubs nuzzle at her side but find no milk. The brothers remain watchful. This is not a pride. Not yet. But something has shifted. A fragile alliance begins in the dust. Less about trust, more about necessity. By morning, the lioness is stronger. She limps to her feet, flanks the area, sniffs the wind. The younger brother watches her closely. He sees the war beneath her grace. She has known loss. The marks on her body are not from prey. They are from lions, males who came to claim, to dominate, to destroy. Her mate long gone, her sisters scattered or slain. Her cubs, these two, the only survivors. She has no territory, no safety, nothing but instinct, and now, perhaps, a chance. Together, the 5 lions move deeper into the ghost land. They are not a pride in name, but in rhythm. The brothers guard the flanks, the lioness leads, the cubs trail behind, hiding between them all. That night, the wind changes, and with it, the danger returns. The scent is unmistakable. Hyenas. Not one, not two. Many a clan has moved into the area, bold and brazen. Their calls rise in the dark like cracked laughter, echoing across the plains. They have caught the scent of vulnerability. The cubs. The lions huddle close, eyes flickering, tails twitching. From the ridge, the eyes begin to appear, glowing, one by one, yellow, flickering, unblinking. Hyenas do not fear lions like they once did. In great numbers, they become something else entirely, a wave of pressure, of biting chaos. They do not challenge directly. They surround. They wait. They wear down. The lioness growls low in her throat, baring her teeth. The older brother rises to his feet, shoulders squared. The younger circles the cubs, shielding them, and then the charge. A blur of motion, cackles erupting, bodies closing, and teeth flashing, dust flying. The older brother lunges first, jaws snapping down on the leg of a reckless hyena. A yelp, a spray of blood. The others hesitate, but not for long. They press again. The lioness joins, slashing, roaring. Her fury outweighs her wounds. The younger brother holds the line, pacing back and forth, teeth bared, growling with a depth new to him. It is chaos, but lions, even outnumbered, are storm-made flesh. They hold, and the hyenas retreat, not with defeat. With calculation, they will return, but not tonight. In the silence after, the lions breathe as one. Blood mixes with dust. The cubs, miraculously untouched, nuzzle beneath their mother's chin. Something unspoken has formed. They are no longer strangers. They are a unit, a beginning. In the days that follow, they move together with new purpose. The lioness teaches the brothers what she knows: paths where prey lingers, signs of jackals and vultures, the difference between false movement and true danger. The brothers begin to hunt with her. Small kills first, hares, guinea fowl. Then, a young impala. Together they succeed where they once failed alone. And slowly, the cubs grow stronger. Their bellies swell. Their steps grow confident. Their eyes begin to hold the first glint of what might one day be courage. But this story does not promise peace, because survival in the dustlands is always borrowed, and predators are not the only threat. Drought is returning. The grass begins to crisp. Water pools shrink to cracked mud. The wind grows hotter, more erratic, and with it, disease. One morning, a cub does not rise. He lies still, breathing shallowly, his gums pale, his body too warm. The lioness curls around him, licking his fur with frantic tenderness. The brothers stand nearby, helpless. Nature gives and takes, sometimes with cruelty, sometimes with indifference. By sunset, the cub is gone. The lioness does not roar. She does not weep. She lies beside him, still and silent, until darkness erases the shapes around her. Then she buries him not with dirt, but with grass, with leaves, with the weight of her own body, lying beside him through the night. In the morning, she rises and leads the others onward. There is no mourning in the dustlands, only motion, only the promise of another day, if one is lucky enough to reach it. The younger cub now clings to her side. The brothers move closer than before. The group has shrunk in number but grown in unity. They are no longer what they were. They are not pride. They are not rogues. They are something in between. Ghosts of a forgotten grassland. Shadows moving through sun and silence. Bound not by blood, but by shared exile. And as the heat thickens the air, not the dry warmth of afternoon sun or the welcome shimmer of morning light. This heat pulses, stifling and strange. It clings to the earth, gathering in invisible waves, folding itself into the sky with heavy breath. The lions feel it first before they smell it, a shift in the rhythm of the land. Birds have gone silent. Insects, always murmuring, have vanished. The wind hesitates, uncertain, waiting. Then the scent arrives, ash, smoke, burnt leaves and something deeper, an ancient memory etched into instinct. Fire. It starts far away, beyond the flatlands, sparked by lightning or left by careless flame. No creature can say. But now it travels fast, feeding on brittle grass and thirsty trees, galloping across the parched terrain like a beast with no master. The lions stand at the edge of a rise and see the first fingers of smoke unfurling into the sky. It does not look like danger yet, just a shadow on the horizon, a whisper of gray where the blue once stretched undisturbed, but they know better. Fire is not like flood or drought. It comes not just to starve, but to consume. It hunts without rest, without mercy, and it's coming. The lioness moves first, ushering the remaining cub forward. Her pace is brisk, her eyes sharp. The brothers follow. There is no discussion, no moment to mourn the land they leave behind. Every instinct tells them, survive now, understand later. The journey begins. They move with urgency, yet careful steps. Fire runs, but lions know the land better. They move through low gullies where smoke gathers slowly, along the beds of dried creeks, cool beneath canopies of fever trees. They travel mostly at night when the wind softens and the light no longer tricks the eye. Each day the sky grows stranger. The sun no longer rises gold. It rises red, blood red, smeared behind a curtain of smoke. Shadows flicker in odd directions. Colors lose their meaning, even the prey knows. Zebra herds thunder past in ragged stampedes heading west. Baboons cling to trees, screeching toward the sky. Birds swirl in frantic, confused flocks. The silence of the land is replaced by motion, desperate, wide-eyed motion. For the lions, the rules of the wild shift. There is no territory now, no rivalries, no pride lines to cross. All creatures run from the same foe, but escape is not simple. Water, once a rare gift, becomes a curse. The pools that remain are now surrounded by crocodiles, by desperate buffalo, by herds pushed too close together. Tension shivers in the air like static. One wrong step becomes death. On the third day, the lions find themselves boxed in. Smoke rolls behind them thick and choking. The path ahead leads into the bone-dry savannah, flat, exposed, no shelter in sight. They hesitate. The lioness scans the land, reading signs only her experience understands. She changes course abruptly, veering left toward a line of boulders that rise like sleeping giants in the distance. The cub stumbles, panting. The younger brother picks him up by the scruff, carrying him for a time. The elder leads the way. The group climbs, higher, away from the brush, toward the wind. And there, amid the rock, a miracle, a seep of water, thin, cool, trickling between stones, enough to drink, enough to breathe. For now, they hunker down as night falls, the fire still distant, but louder in presence. The glow paints the horizon orange. Ash begins to fall like snow. The lioness lies curled around the cub. The brothers keep watch, eyes scanning both sky and earth. And through the smoke, another figure appears. He moves slowly, scarred, massive, the rogue. The black-maned lion returns, his outline flickering like a dream through the haze. He does not approach directly. He does not speak, but he stands nearby, watching. He too has smelled the fire. He too has chosen this path. And perhaps he has remembered them. Old instincts warn the brothers, but the lioness does not flinch. She meets the rogue's eyes, not with fear, not with challenge, but with recognition. They may have known each other once, or perhaps they simply share the same pain. The rogue lies down a short distance away. His breath is steady. His body is still. For this one night, fire has forged an unspoken truce. In the morning, the fire draws closer. The roar is no longer distant. It breathes, audibly, terrifyingly, like a giant stirring in its sleep. Ash thickens. The sun disappears completely, and then, a change in the wind. It shifts south, and with it, the fire turns, not toward the lions, but away. The danger, for now, has passed. The air, though choked with heat, carries relief. The lions descend from the rocks cautiously. The earth below them has changed. Where once there was green and gold, now there is black and gray. The land is wounded, but not dead. And in the wake of fire, new beginnings. Charred trees still stand, their bark split but strong. Shoots of green already pierce the ash. Insects return first, then birds, and behind them, life. Antelope emerge from cover. Buffalo return in heavy-footed herds. Even elephants, once displaced, begin to reclaim what was lost. For the lions, the return is slow. They move across scorched plains, paws kicking up soot. Prey is cautious, hunting is harder, but they have changed. The fire did not burn their bodies, it burned their fear. They are bolder now. The younger brother brings down his first gazelle with minimal help. The lioness watches, pride flickering in her tired eyes. The cub, now growing rapidly, begins to mimic the stalking steps of his elders. The older brother, scarred from recent battles and smoke, begins to scent mark again. This is not their territory. Not yet. But it could be. Even the rogue, who once wandered alone, seems to linger longer. He circles wider, returns more often, and one night, he joins the hunt. No words pass, but something ancient binds them now. Fire did not just... The air carries a new scent. It is not smoke, not dust, not decay. It is power, raw, heavy, male. The winds, brushing across the blackened plains, now bring whispers of change. The balance, once shattered, is shifting again. Territories burned clean by fire have become empty thrones, vacant lands with fertile promise, a calling for kings, and kings are coming. The coalition has endured. The lioness, the growing cub, the brothers, and the black-maned rogue, each one tested by fire, loss, and exile. Together they have carved out the beginnings of a claim. Prey has returned. Water trickles through the channels again. The land, though wounded, breathes. But peace in the wild is not a state. It is a pause, and it never lasts. They first appear as shadows in the heat shimmer, two males sleek and golden, their manes wild with youth and ambition. Brothers, likely born together, now bold with the confidence of blood alliance. Their scent, marks line the edge of the recovering land, fresh and deliberate. They are not just passing through, they are making a declaration. And the coalition, our lions, hear it. The black-maned rogue is the first to answer. He rises alone before dawn, walks into the wind and roars. It is not the roar of invitation, nor of fear. It is the roar of defiance. It shakes the stillness, echoes off trees not yet healed, scatters birds in frightened clouds. It is a line drawn in ash. By midday, the challengers arrive. The young intruders step boldly through the veil of smoke-scented trees, eyes wide, ears forward. Their bodies gleam with health. Their strides are unhurried. They have not known fire. They have not known loss. They see a wounded land and a fractured pride, and they smell opportunity. But what stands before them now is not weakness. It is unity forged in survival. The black-maned rogue does not attack immediately. He circles, he watches, he tests. The older brother moves to flank. The younger, now matured in muscle and confidence, positions behind, and the lioness, silent and steady, stands beside her cub, watching with eyes that have seen too much to be shaken by posturing. There is a tension to this dance, a silence between giants. Then, it breaks. One of the challengers lunges, and the plain erupts. The fight is brutal. Not a graceful battle, but a storm of bodies and claws, of snarls and dust. The rogue meets his opponent with sheer force, their bodies slamming like boulders in a landslide. The challenger is strong, but the rogue is experienced. His movements, while less explosive, are calculated, efficient. The younger brother collides with the second intruder. Their fight is faster, more frenzied. Youth against youth, blood spatters the ash. The older brother intercepts, shielding his sibling when the fight turns. The lioness, though not engaged, growls low, pacing with the cub close behind. Hours pass, like minutes. And then, defeat. The challengers, bloodied and panting, begin to falter. The younger one turns first, limping into retreat. The second, slower to yield, finally stumbles under the rogue's crushing weight, and then he too flees. They vanish beyond the rise, tails low, pride shattered. The coalition does not pursue. They know the battle is won. For now. When dusk falls, the land is quiet again, but it is not the silence of peace. It is the silence of rule. The lions lick their wounds beneath a fever tree, each body aching, each breath laced with dust and blood. The black-maned rogue lies still, a long gash across his flank. The brothers tend to him with gentle nuzzles, subtle but deeply understood gestures. They have not just defended land, They have defined it. The cub, wide-eyed, watches. He has seen violence before, but not like this. This was not survival. This was dominion. Later that night, beneath a starlit sky, the coalition roars again, a chorus, unified, relentless, territorial. Their sound carries over valleys, over hills, across the plains still healing. It is a sound that says, "We are here. This place is claimed." But the wild does not rest. In the days that follow, new threats rise. The hyenas return, not the same clan, but another, drawn by the scent of fresh kills and lion blood. They move differently now, more cautious, more intelligent. They watch from a distance, probe, test. At night their laughter rings from the hills, but they do not come close. Not yet. The coalition patrols more frequently. They move with slow strength, tails flicking, ears twitching, manes catching the light like gold dust. The land bends slightly to their presence, prey stepping wide around their paths, vultures circling with more patience. Even the elephants notice. One evening a small herd passes through, a matriarch and her daughters, calves in tow. The lioness and her cub watch from a distance, heads low in the tall grass. The elephants pause. One elder lifts her trunk, stares across the clearing, and for a moment, lion and elephant share the same space. Two survivors of fire, two rulers of land that never truly belonged to either. No battle, no threat, only understanding. The cub, now nearly grown, begins to walk with more confidence. His limbs carry weight, his eyes follow movement with intent. He begins to practice stalking, insects chasing small birds, biting into fallen logs. The lioness guides him, sometimes with a swat of her paw, sometimes with a gentle nudge. And slowly a new generation awakens. One day, as the sun climbs high and the heat presses down, the lions return to the same rocky outcrop where they first sheltered from the fire. The land below them spreads wide and golden. The trees, charred once, now bear leaves again. The riverbed, once dry, holds a ribbon of water. Life is returning. But so are the challengers. Different ones this time. Older, more seasoned. A pair with cold eyes and lean muscle. They do not roar. They do not threaten. They watch from. Morning breaks like liquid amber, spilling over the eastern horizon with warmth and clarity. For the first time in months, the savannah feels calm. No distant fires, no charging invaders. Just the slow breath of the land, exhaling a mist that softens the scars of yesterday. And in the cradle of silence, beneath a stand of acacia trees, a lion cub stretches his limbs toward the rising sun. But he is no longer a cub. Not quite. The softness of youth is fading. His paws are larger now, broader than his mother's. His mane has begun to thicken, short tufts of golden fuzz curling along the nape of his neck. His eyes, once curious and innocent, hold depth, echoes of firelight, blood, and long treks through dust. He walks with uncertainty, still learning the rhythm of his strength. Yet something inside him stirs, something ancient. He is not yet a king, but he is no longer a child. He is a prince, growing in the shadows of giants. The coalition watches his evolution with quiet eyes. The brothers keep near him when he practices mock charges at wildebeest from afar. The black-maned rogue, though distant, has begun to acknowledge him more often, with low growls, prolonged stares, the occasional shared patrol. And the lioness, his mother, remains his anchor. She teaches without words, leads by action, shows him how to move with the wind, how to listen to the earth, how to understand without speaking. She is his first mentor, and his first kingdom is her gaze. But the savannah is not a gentle school. It does not wait for readiness. It tests before it teaches. And so the prince's first trial arrives not in battle, but in absence. One evening, the lions return from a hunt to find the black-maned rogue missing. No scent trail, no blood, just gone. The others wait. 1 day. 2. The brothers pace. The lioness circles the perimeter, nose low to the earth. The young lion grows restless, his gaze darting toward every shadow, every rustle of wind-tossed grass. On the 3rd day, they find tracks. Deep, purposeful, leading east toward the salt flats. The brothers debate whether to follow. The lioness does not. She leads the cub away. The message is simple: survival first, mourning later. But the prince does not forget. He wakes in the middle of the night, scanning the darkness, listening for a familiar roar that never comes. In the absence of his silent guardian, a new weight settles on his shoulders. Responsibility. The coalition adjusts. The brothers step into larger roles, patrol more often, growl louder at distant threats. Their bond with the cub strengthens, not just as playmates but as protectors, and yet something shifts. The older brother begins to separate himself, leading longer patrols alone, scent marking, wider boundaries, challenging giraffes with sharp eyes and stiffer posture. He is preparing, not to leave, but to lead. The younger brother, always his shadow, starts to mirror him. Their hunts become synchronized, fluid and fast. 2 predators shaped by fire, now sharpened by ambition. The cub watches, and then joins. His first real kill comes unexpectedly. A young impala, slow to spot danger, separated from its herd. The lioness makes no move. The brothers pause. The prince crouches, tail twitching, and then he strikes. Clumsy, overeager, but determined, he misses the throat, lands on the flank. The impala kicks wildly, but his claws hold. He bites, misses, bites again. This time, connects. It takes too long. But when the impala stills, breath gone, the cub stands over it, trembling, stained, transformed. He has crossed a line. His eyes lift to the horizon, and for a moment it seems larger than ever before. He does not roar, not yet, but something inside him does. The lioness joins him quietly. She does not praise, she does not correct. She simply eats, and with that, he becomes a hunter. Not in theory, in truth. From that day on, his steps grow firmer, his ears track sound more precisely. He moves with less doubt. The brothers begin involving him in flanking positions, letting him learn the angles of ambush, the subtle pauses before a pounce. But still, he is watched. Every action weighed, every mistake remembered. One afternoon, the coalition encounters a young leopard near the watering hole. The cat, startled, bolts. The older brother gives chase. The prince follows without hesitation. They corner the leopard in a tree, barking challenges from below. But the older lion steps back, satisfied. The prince lingers, roaring again, claws scraping bark. The leopard lashes out, swiping down. A claw rakes the prince's face. He stumbles, roaring more from embarrassment than pain. The brothers watch from a distance. They do not help. The lesson is his alone. The prince backs away, dignity bruised. But he learns. Not every challenge is worth blood. The lioness tends to his wound later, that night. Her tongue is gentle, but her eyes are stern. Pride, she seems to say, is not power. Wisdom is. The seasons turn. Rain falls again. The rivers swell. The ash disappears beneath new grass. And with it, the savannah begins its slow return to green. It begins with silence. Not the peaceful kind born from calm winds and sleeping prey, but a dead silence, unnatural. The birds are the first to notice. They take flight in sudden bursts, their wings jittering with unease. The hyenas grow restless, too, circling less, watching the horizon more. Elephants hesitate near familiar routes. Antelope cluster together, nostrils wide, scanning shadows. The lions feel it last, but when they do, it strikes deeper. The prince lifts his head from slumber, his mane now thick, golden with streaks of dusk. The wind carries something foreign, something metallic and wrong. He stands, listens, watches. Across the grasslands, beyond the rippling mirage of heat, something glints. Not water, not eyes, something man-made. The brothers join him on the ridge. They've seen this before. The scent of diesel, the crackle of tires against dry stone, the distant hum of engines. The humans have returned. But this time, not with rifles or camps. This time, they bring change. Fences, steel wire, coiling like artificial thorns across the land's open veins. Poles hammered deep into ancestral earth. Machines growl, men shout, trees fall. The land groans. The lions don't understand the purpose, but they understand the result. The buffalo herds begin to vanish. Elephants reroute to avoid disruption. Small prey scatter toward the river, clustering in tighter, more desperate bands. The lions follow. Food becomes less frequent. Hunts stretch longer. The coalition roams farther, pushed into neighboring territories, testing invisible boundaries. And with that pushing comes conflict. Another coalition appears. Older males with broad shoulders and hollow eyes. Scarred, experienced. Not territorial kings, but nomads, displaced by the same advancing human line, wandering into lion lands in search of food, water, safety. The prince, now fully grown, leads the first confrontation. He does not charge. He roars. It echoes against the bones of the earth. A statement, not a threat. This land, scarred and shrinking, is theirs. The nomads do not fight. Not yet. But their eyes say what their bodies do not. They will return. That night, the lions gather beneath the baobab tree that once sheltered the lioness. The wind is dry. The stars quiet. A rustle of metal drifts in from the east where the fences creep farther each day. The prince lies still, but sleep does not come. He watches the horizon, as if trying to remember something ancient, something his mother once told him without words. That the land does not belong to them, they belong to it. But now, what happens when the land no longer belongs to itself? Dawn paints the sky in subdued tones. Not gold, not crimson, but dusty gray. The hunt that morning is slow. The impalas are skittish, the wildebeest few. The lions track a lone zebra for hours, only to lose it near the edge of the fence. It vanishes. Beyond the wire, they cannot follow, and so they circle. Wait, adapt. This is the law of the wild. evolve, or vanish. The brothers grow leaner, still powerful, but strained. The prince sharpens his skills, learns patience, perfects stealth. His kills become cleaner, more efficient. He takes fewer risks, chooses his moments like a chess player, always 5 moves ahead. But the tension lingers. One afternoon, while following a herd, the younger brother steps into a foreign scent, oil tar. He hesitates, but it's too late. His paw snags on wire hidden beneath loose brush. A trap. It snaps closed with brutal precision. The roar he releases shatters the sky. The others rush to him. The prince leads the effort, pulling, tearing, snarling at the metal. The brother thrashes, blood pooling in the dirt. The older sibling bites at the trap in desperation, snapping teeth against steel. But the trap does not yield. The sun sets. Still, the lions fight it. Only when the wind shifts, carrying more human scent, do they stop. They do not run. They wait. Hidden. From a distance they watch as men approach, figures in trucks, boots crunching earth. They kneel, speak in clipped tones. One raises a hand. The shot rings out like thunder. The younger brother's body goes still. The trucks drive away. The prince stands. The older brother does not. He remains beside the lifeless body, head bowed, tail still, until night fully falls. When he finally rejoins the prince, something inside him is gone, not broken but buried. The coalition is now 2, not from age, not from challenge, but from the encroaching hand of man. The following weeks pass in wary rhythm, fewer roars, more patrols. The prince becomes the constant, the silent leader, the tireless hunter, the careful watcher. He finds new paths, uses fallen logs to bypass fence lines, leads stealth attacks on clustered prey herds, guides the older brother, now less fiery, more distant. But even as he adapts, he senses the walls closing in. The sky looks different, the trees thinner. Even the wind feels altered, humming with frequencies unnatural to this land. One day the prince hears the low whine of an aerial drone. He tracks it with narrowed eyes, unsure whether to fear it or ignore it. It vanishes into the clouds. Later that evening, a herd of elephants. The sun rises, but its light feels different. Not weaker, but older. The sky carries a quiet melancholy, as if it remembers things the land has forgotten. Scars run through the plains, some ancient, carved by tusks and storms. Others, fresh, etched by tire tracks and the slow sprawl of fences. Yet amid the fading wilderness, life clings on. The lion, the prince once shaped by fire, now sculpted by survival, emerges from the shadows, regal and raw. He is not just larger, he is heavier. He carries the dust of all those who came before him. Every paw print echoes with memory. His mane is full now, tinged with ash and gold, a living flame flickering beneath the morning sun. His eyes, no longer just watchful but wise, sweep the horizon with sovereign grace. He is the king of nowhere, and of everything. The older brother walks behind him, a step slower, breath shallow. The fire of youth has burned low in his bones. His flank bears the marks of many battles. His eyes, the weight of many losses. But still, he follows. The 2 remaining lions of a once mighty coalition. Each step they take feels like history unfolding. Fragments of lineage, stitched together by resilience and dust. They move through their territory, but it is no longer the same. The acacia tree that sheltered them as cubs is gone, struck by lightning, reduced to ash. The watering hole they once patrolled now shrinks, with every season bordered by cracked mud and the skeletons of fish. Yet through these ruins, life presses forward. A pair of lionesses has been sighted to the west, young, strong, guiding a pair of cubs through perilous terrain. They are not from this land, but the king watches them closely. From a distance, he observes the lionesses coordinate a hunt, stalking wildebeest in unison. They succeed, and he does not intervene. Not yet. They do not flee from his scent, nor do they challenge it. A silent understanding brews beneath the heat. Two paths, soon to converge, but peace is never permanent in the wild. As the sun sets one evening, a rumble shakes the stillness. Not thunder, not elephants. Roars, deep, harsh, aggressive. The nomads have returned, but they are not the same. They are bigger, bolder, hardened by desperation. 4 males, soot-black manes, scarred muzzles, shoulders like stone. They do not sneak, they march, straight into the heart of the prince's land. The king hears them before he sees them. From a rise above the valley, he watches the trespassers pass below, territory marked and ignored. The older brother stands beside him. The moment is clear. If they retreat, their reign ends here. If they stand, one may fall. That night, under a sky bruised with stormlight, the lions prepare. They do not sleep. They do not eat. They remember. All of it. The fire, the traps, the blood of brothers, the face of the lioness, eyes steady beneath moonlight. At dawn, the dust rises once more. The prince leads the charge. The roar he releases shakes the horizon, raw, resonant, final, Daru, a roar of legacy, a roar of warning, and a roar of war. The clash is brutal, not graceful, not like the dances of courtship or the choreography of a hunt. It is chaos, teeth against throat, claws against bone, dust and blood and fury. The older brother holds off 2 males, his jaws sinking into the hind leg of one while his flank is raked by another. He does not yield. The prince locks with the lead challenger, an enormous brute with burning eyes and a mane slick with blood. They tumble, bite, roll, rise again. Neither backs down. For minutes, then hours, it feels endless. But the wild does not grant endlessness. It demands conclusion. A shift in momentum, a slip of the paw, a deeper bite. The challenger stumbles. The prince seizes the moment. With one final lunge, he drives his weight into the rival's side, jaws closing around his throat. Silence falls. The challenger stops struggling, and the prince releases. The battle ends not with triumph, but with survival. The remaining nomads flee. 1 limps, 2 do not look back, and the king stands heaving, soaked in dust and blood. Beside him, the older brother sways. He is wounded. Badly. The lion lowers himself to the earth, and for the first time the king whimpers, not in fear, but in grief. The brothers' breaths come slowly now. The fight has drained what little life remained. Their eyes meet, and no words are needed. They came from ash, survived fire, conquered dust, and now the sun sets on their journey. As twilight paints the sky, the older brother's breaths fade into silence. The king does not leave his side, not until the moon is high, casting pale light over the scars of the land. He walks away alone, but not lost, because not far from where the final battle was won, the 2 lionesses wait. They do not run, and neither do their cubs. The king approaches slowly. No growls, No roars. He lowers his head, not in submission, but in peace. The lionesses accept him. The cubs watch with wide eyes. A new beginning unfolds beneath the stars. The king, once a prince raised beyond pride lands, now stands as guardian not only of territory, but of legacy. His story, written in fire and fang, will echo through the bones of the land. Tale whispered by winds, carved into rock, sung by scavengers, and remembered by those who rise from dust to claim their roar. The lions of this land were never just kings of beasts. They were memories made flesh, guardians of balance, symbols of a wild too beautiful to tame, too sacred to forget. And though fences may rise and the world may shift, somewhere beyond the horizon, the last roar of the kingdom still echoes, not in defiance, but in hope. For as long as lions walk the earth, dust will rise behind them, and stories will follow in their steps. The earth, once cracked and barren, begins to breathe again. The sun rises more slowly now, as if it knows the weight of what is past. It illuminates the vastness of the plains in soft hues of amber and violet. The king, older and wiser, watches it from a rise, his golden mane still marked by the dust of battle. But his gaze is not as heavy as before. He is no longer the only one who remains. The lionesses have stayed, bonded by more than just necessity. The cubs are young, but they are not small. Their eyes, still wide with the wonder of the world, already gleam with the potential of what they will become. They are the future. The king watches them grow from the shadows. He does not intervene. He has learned the language of survival, the long, slow patience required to thrive in the land beyond pride. He has seen that growth is never without its dangers. And yet, there is something in the way the cubs move that fills him with both hope and sorrow, a reflection of what he once was, long before the storms of battle, long before the creeping shadow of man. The younger cubs tumble in the tall grass, their little roars barely audible but filled with an innocence that only the wild can bestow. They chase each other, stumbling through the dry earth as the mother lioness watches closely, her eyes always alert, her body poised to act should the need arise. The king does not interfere. He has already taught them what he knows. The world has changed. And in that change there are moments of fragility, but there are also moments of resilience. On a morning thick with heat, the king observes the land, the same land that once cradled the bones of his ancestors. It is quieter now, scarred yet alive. There are fewer lions, fewer herds, but still the grass grows in patches. The acacia trees still reach toward the sky, their trunks twisted and gnarled with age. And above all, there is the sound of wind. The land breathes, though not as it once did, and with each breath it grows more fragile, more vulnerable. The king stands as his cubs stretch beneath the shadow of the tree. They play with a sense of ownership, unaware that ownership in this land is an illusion. The real ownership lies in survival, in adaptation, in the deep, relentless pull of instinct that runs through every creature here. And somewhere, far beyond the plains, far beyond the fences that now cut through the heart of the savannah, men work tirelessly to protect this kingdom. They build sanctuaries, set up camera traps, monitor the lions' movements. They know the king's legacy is fragile. They understand that the dust has already begun to settle on a world too familiar with loss. But still, they fight for the lions, for the land, for the future. On a quiet morning, the king leads his cubs through the familiar trails. They stop to drink at the same watering hole where so many lions have quenched their thirst before them. The air is thick with the scent of the earth, the water cool against their paws. But a new presence lingers in the air, a scent carried on the wind. A drone hums in the distance. The king stops, raising his head, his mane rippling like fire in the morning light. The cubs pause, looking up at him. Their eyes are innocent, but they understand the weight of his stillness. The lioness lowers her head, sensing the change in the air. The king's eyes narrow, scanning the horizon. He does not growl. He does not roar. He waits. For a moment, everything stills. Then, as if summoned by the winds of change, the sound of voices rises in the distance. Human voices. It is faint, distant, but it is there. The king turns his head, a slow and deliberate movement. This is the new world. The lion cubs do not understand the sound of men, the hum of machines, the presence of technology, but they understand the land. They understand that the sun rises, and the hunt calls, and the rhythm of survival beats steady, even when the world shifts around them. The king does not turn away from the horizon. Instead, he faces it, standing tall, powerful, unyielding. He knows that his time is fleeting, but that the future, their future, is not written in the dust of battle nor in the grip of human hands. It is written in the sky, in the winds, in the stars above, whose light remains constant even as everything else changes. The king's roar is different now. It is not one of anger. It is not one of challenge. It is one of acknowledgement. Acknowledgement of the unknown. Acknowledgement of the future. And in that single roar, he passes his legacy forward. The cubs look up at him, their eyes wide, and the first true echoes of their own future stir beneath the surface. They hear the call of their father, strong and steady, and they know that one day they too will stand beneath the burning sky and face the land that holds them. As the cubs move forward, their paws leave footprints in the earth, small but real. The king follows closely, his eyes never straying from the horizon, and the world moves around them. The humans, the machines, the fences, they are all part of the world now. But they are not its rulers. The rulers are those who live by the land, by the dust, by the wind, the kings and queens of the wild. And when the time comes for the next generation to rise, to roar, to lead, they will do so with the same fierce strength that has always echoed in the heart of the lion. For the dust may settle, the land may change, but the roar of the lion will never fade. The night falls quietly over the plains. The air, now thick with the scent of earth and damp grass, cools beneath a sky scattered with stars. The landscape is shrouded in a delicate stillness. The kind that blankets the wild after the tumult has passed, when the breath of the land matches the heartbeat of its creatures. The king lies beneath an acacia tree, the same tree that once sheltered him as a cub. It is a place of comfort, yet there is a heaviness in the air tonight, an understanding that time, like the seasons, is a cycle that must eventually be honored. His body is no longer what it once was, stronger, faster, sharper. His mane is tinged with silver, and the scars that mark his body tell stories of battles fought, kingdoms lost, and victories carved from the unforgiving earth. The younger cubs now play in the distance, their sounds muffled by the wind, their movements full of an energy he once knew. They are not his heirs in the traditional sense. No, they belong to the land as all lions do. They will rise not because of blood, but because of the wild's deep, undying rhythm. The wild does not care who sired whom. It only cares that life endures, that the cycle continues. The lioness moves close, her body still elegant, her eyes watching the horizon with a quiet, unwavering alertness. She is the keeper of balance, and together they have become the guardians of this place. A soft breeze moves through the branches, and the leaves rustle like whispers, as if the land itself is speaking to them. The king's eyes close, his breath steady but slow, as if he too is listening. And then, there it is, a roar, far in the distance. It is faint but powerful, a sound that stirs the ancient earth beneath his paws. It is a roar of another lion, a male, a new king, one who has risen beyond the pride. The king lifts his head slightly, his eyes narrowing not with fear but with understanding. The roar is not a threat, not yet. It is a call, a summons to what he has known all his life, that life will go on, whether through victory or loss, whether through death or rebirth, the land will remain. And as long as lions roam it, their stories will echo through the dust and the wind. A gentle sound, the wind again, brings his focus back to the present. The cubs are circling the watering hole, their tiny bodies reflecting the stars. The lioness joins them, watching over them with an ancient knowledge in her eyes. The king knows his time is near, but there is no sorrow in this, not anymore. There is only acceptance and pride, for he has lived his life in the only way a lion knows, fiercely, fearlessly, unyielding in the face of both hunger and time. He has witnessed the land change. He has seen the rise of the humans, their machines, and their fences. He has seen the kingdom fall, but he has also seen it rise again. The roar in the distance rises louder now, closer. It is another king, one who does not know the land, not yet. But he will learn, for in the end, every lion learns. It is the only truth in the wild, the truth that passes from one generation to the next. The lion rises slowly, his bones creaking, his body weary but strong. The cubs notice him stopping their play. They watch him with those same wide eyes, their eyes filled with curiosity, with questions they do not yet know how to ask. They do not know yet what it means to rule. They do not understand yet the weight of the wild's demands. But they will. They will learn, just as he did, just as his father did, and his father before him. The king turns toward the horizon once more, his body poised with the same regal elegance that defined him in his youth. And then, with one final look at his cubs, he steps into the shadows. His roar does not echo this time. It does not shake the earth or rattle the sky. It simply lingers. The last breath of a lion carried away by the wind, but the land does not forget. And the roar, though silenced in one heart, still reverberates in the hills, the valleys, and the plains. It passes through the very air like a prayer woven into the dust. For the roar of the lion is eternal. It will never fade. Even in the face of time, of change, of challenge, it is not lost. It is reborn. With each sunrise, with each passing moment. And when the cubs look up once more to the horizon, when they see the land spread out before them, they will know this truth, that the wild does not belong to any one lion. It belongs to all of them. The king is not gone. He is in the earth, in the trees, in the wind, in the roar that will rise again when the time comes, the eternal roar, the roar that will never cease.